football drama is back, baby.
Need something to get through this.
Finally, we could shut the fuck up about Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so good that it's finally done.
I know.
He's agreed he's going to come back. We got some franchise tag business going. And Nello's back. What's up, Nello?
Oh.
He said he'll be back next week. Thank goodness. Clay, how you doing?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
I'm great. Ryan, what's up, brother? Oh, he's not here yet. But that doesn't matter because there's things to talk about. There are things to be discussed.
Absolutely.
Namely, Mr. Aaron Rodgers signing on to go back to the Pack for 4 years. And he said the only thing he wanted to do was cripple them in terms of cap.
I still can't believe they're paying it.
So they're saying the terms of it are, it's not the actual terms. He's come out and said, oh, no, it's not really that. The initial report from everybody, ESPN, NFL, CBS Sports, is 4 years, $200 million.
Highest in history.
$50 million a year for a guy with one ring. And that ring came 11 years ago.
And with enough off-the-field drama that Sir Charles Barkley himself said.
I didn't hear what he said.
He said, Aaron Rodgers is the pretty girl that you have to tell her she's pretty every day.
Wait a minute. No. You got to say that in a Charles Barkley voice.
You're the voice man. You do it.
Aaron Rodgers is the pretty girl. You just got to tell she's pretty every day.
Yeah. Oh man, this is
that's so bad. Like I just look at that and I'm like, we were talking about this in the group and it was like, well, how do you go in there and expect the team to put anybody else on the field with you? I mean, truly, because now you're making $50 million a year. I want to know what the cap hit is for it, but it's got to be substantial. I mean, that's a lot of stinking money.
That's a whole lot.
For a guy who's not a guarantee.
Well, for it to not be a big cap hit, that's got to be a lot of bonuses, right?
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
and let's be honest, if you're Green Bay and you're going to make them the highest paid player, I would hope they are smart enough to make it bonus heavy.
Yeah.
To at least make it to the Super Bowl.
It's just gotta be.
Yeah. They snagged him and they franchise tagged Devontae Adams.
Yeah. So Devontae's going to hit a huge payday for that, just because the franchise tag allows them to pay him the top whatever that position's making, and we all know wide receiver makes bank.
Yep,
it's a passing league. So the Packers are happy now. They still have to worry about Jair Alexander because that's a major piece you've got to have come back, but I don't know. This is going to be interesting because they're clearly all in. Now, what happens if this year they've signed him on for 4 years, which they've almost guaranteed, in my opinion, that they can't sign Devontae to a long-term deal? How could they?
I don't see how the money's there to do it.
It's just they went all in. Is Bakhtiari on for a long time?
I don't know.
I mean, I got to take a look because if he's, in the question, then he really is going to have to worry about that because he's a big part of protecting him, too.
I'd like to know where they're going to find money to – I mean, it's great. You got Rodgers, you got Adams, but that ain't enough.
Mm-hmm.
What happens after this coming season? Where are they looking at running back and other receivers and the money to pay them?
Yeah. I just don't understand locking down your team like that. And is this the agent pushing this kind of stuff? Is this them going in and saying, listen, man, you're going to be the highest paid guy, and I'm only going to get 20% of that.
yeah, the agents have
20% of $50 million a year.
It's interesting from looking at it from the Packers' perspective. I mean, everybody talked about, the Rams gave up the farm, but look, they bought a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So this is nowhere near comparable because you're quadrupling down, let's call it, on a guy that hasn't, cut the mustard for you.
And we would like to say that the Packers are knocking on the door, but they've been knocking on the door for a while now.
Yeah.
And they haven't been able to kick it down. I mean, they've run into somebody that shuts them down every year. And, when you talk about the Rams, they significantly improved from year to year. They handled the Buccaneers this year. They were really a great team. And last year, they obviously, they got handled by the Green Bay Packers, but then they made those big jumps and had Stafford come in and Odell, and they had enough pieces to come in to put them over the edge and win the Super Bowl. But I don't see Green Bay doing the same thing.
No.
Do you?
No. It doesn't make any sense to me.
No, it doesn't. And, now, so Rodgers locked up. That's the big free agent that everybody was talking about. Second, in terms of free agents that everybody was talking about, Russell Wilson, who got traded away this morning or this afternoon.
Yeah.
Going to Denver, which is where Nello has been screaming for weeks that Aaron Rodgers was going to go.
Yeah.
He's going to Denver. Well, guess again, he didn't go to Denver. Russell Wilson is now going there for the farm.
Yeah.
If I was the Seattle Seahawks, there's no way I'm turning this trade down.
No.
The Broncos get Russell Wilson and a 4th rounder. That's great. The Seahawks get 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, a 5th rounder, Drew Lock, who I think is serviceable at quarterback.
Yeah. He'll be a great backup.
We'll see what he can do. We'll see who's going to take the reins in Seattle now. I don't think Geno Smith is that guy.
No, I don't either.
And then they get Shelby Harris, which, okay, that's not a bad compensation. And then Noah Fant.
Which I don't understand.
I don't get that.
I don't understand because he's a great tight end.
He's a young piece that you would definitely be developing, and he has not disappointed yet.
Not at all. When you look
like,
at the quarterback situation there, he's done a really great job.
Yeah.
But he's a great tight end as it is. That was interesting to me.
And that's just what I don't get. So now we look at the rest of the free agent market for quarterbacks. It is slim pickings unless you're looking for a trade. Now, guys that don't have a spot in 2022 that are on the free agent list, Ben Roethlisberger obviously retiring. He's done. Teddy Two Gloves in Denver. He's got to be on the move.
Of course.
Because he's not going to want to sit behind Russell Wilson. Not that it's embarrassing to sit behind Russell Wilson. He's an elite quarterback, but he's got to go somewhere.
This is his last chance to be a starter for Bridgewater. This is it.
Really is.
He's getting up there.
Really is. He's getting to be career backup guy. He's had a couple chances now, and he's going to have to go somewhere and perform. After that, we've got the ultimate journeyman in Ryan Fitzpatrick. He's got nowhere to go. He's on the Commanders right now, and I don't know if the Commanders are going to go all in on him because clearly they sat him.
Yeah.
And they let, old boy, I can't remember his name, Taylor Heineke, take the reins. And then you got Andy Dalton. I mean, I'm just looking worse and worse.
Yeah.
And here's one that I want to just stab in the heart right now. Cam Newton. No, I don't want to literally stab Cam Newton in the heart. But a lot of Bucs fans have been saying, bring Cam to Tampa Bay. And I want to say, with all due respect, what the fuck are you smoking?
Yeah.
Why would you want that guy in the locker room?
What has he shown?
Nothing.
That's my thing.
Now, listen, he went to the patron saint of lost causes who turns people around for a living in Bill Belichick. And even Bill was like, fuck, man, I can't do anything with this guy.
Yeah. He's got to go.
And you think he's going to come here and start to succeed?
No. So talking about these quarterbacks, Cam Newton needs to stay away from Tampa Bay. People that want him here, I'd like to hear what they're looking at.
They're looking at the MVP year and saying, well, he's done that. But the NFL is always, what have you done for me lately?
Yeah.
And Cam hasn't done anything for anybody lately. Even in the return to Panthers, to Carolina, when he got that touchdown and got up and screamed, I'm back, and never did anything else.
Yeah. And then just all of his antics, it's fine if you want to be an out of the box kind of person. I'm not knocking that. But when you distract away from football for the team, you have these off field problems, and you're butting heads with your head coach, and you're like, well, I'm gonna be me. All right, well, go be yourself somewhere else. But I don't want it to be Tampa.
Right? No, this is not the spot for Cam Newton.
The
guy after this, and unfortunately the guy after that, who I've talked to before, Tyrod Taylor. I would take Tyrod Taylor 10 times out of 10 before I took Cam Newton.
Yeah, for sure.
I think Tyrod could get us going a lot better than Cam Newton could. I don't think he'd be better than Teddy Two Gloves. But to be quite honest with you, Bucs fans, it's looking like it's going to be Blaine Gabbert who gets re-signed for cheap. Or they let Blaine Gabbert continue to do what he does and say, Trask, you're a little bit ahead of where we wanted you, but you're going to go in there. Do I think Trask is ready? Not really. I don't think a year sitting under Brady is what's going to solve all our problems.
It's a coin flip.
Yeah.
Honestly.
A three-sided coin with two of them being heads.
Wouldn't be surprised if he's the starter game one, though.
No, me either. And a lot of that is going to tell with time in training camp.
Yeah.
And him coming back to Byron Leftwich and having another year with him and having that direct tutelage from them as the starters and starting to get that extra whisper in the ear from guys like Mike Evans, guys like Chris Godwin, who just received the franchise tag for the second year in a row.
It'll be interesting to see how that works because, to your point, all those extra reps together in practice and all, that does make a big difference. It really does. But still, I think he's definitely a year or two earlier than what they wanted. This whole Arians' outlook on Brady.
Yeah.
Is he going to hold that line?
That's right. And we didn't get a chance to talk about that because we had some scheduling conflicts last week, but here we are. Arians came out and said, don't worry, Brady's not showing up this year and playing for somebody else. He's not. I will not allow that. And if somebody, namely San Francisco, who everybody's been throwing San Francisco out there, if any of them want him, he says, sure, 5 first-rounders.
Yeah.
And I will cash that check. You want Tom Brady? You want any player? 5 first-rounders? Let's go.
I'll say this.
Because at that point, you could trade those free first-rounders for another stud player that's proven. Or you could get some of these absolute monsters coming out of the draft and move up and get a really stout player.
Yeah. I don't know. He's saying that like that's his decision, but it's not. It's Jason Licht's decision at the end of the day. But the way he's talking about this, it's like him and Jason Licht have had the discussion, and there it is.
Yeah.
And Jason's letting Bruce be the spokesperson on the issue because he's the one in front of the cameras all the time.
Jason Licht, though, has been an absolute blessing for Tampa Bay. He has such a great eye for talent and decision making. I wouldn't be surprised. And he doesn't want to be the guy from Tampa who lets Brady come back and does him a solid and lets him go somewhere else.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to happen.
I mean, it's business.
We want you back, Brady. You want to play? Come play for us.
Yeah.
We'll do whatever you want, but come back and play for us. You want to go somewhere else? The price tag's going to be high because you're the greatest quarterback of all time. Yep. And if somebody wants to pay for you, the price is 5 first-round picks, which sets up any franchise in the league, not named Detroit, for success in the future.
Yeah.
So, anyway, back to the guy I was talking about. I don't know if I got a chance to mention his name here again, but Jameis Winston.
Oh, geez.
Jameis is a guy who I would be like so begrudgingly not wanting to see back here because of the way he acted when he did come back. Not that the Bucs were necessarily Prince Charming to him on his way out, but he's a guy who knows the system.
I didn't see enough out of Jameis, obviously.
Because of the injuries.
Yeah, to really want him back. Yeah, just strictly because of the injuries. We didn't get to see enough of his play, enough of his 20/20 vision play.
Yeah, his new LASIK idea.
Yeah. Yeah, those new eyeballs.
But it's going to be a sticky situation. But that being said, those are some of the big franchise moves. Orlando Brown from the 49ers got the franchise tag as well. But with Chris Godwin here in Tampa getting the franchise tag, that says a couple things. One, we weren't offering him what he wanted because they said they're sticking him with that tag because they couldn't get the deal they wanted done. But that also means they weren't willing to tag Ryan Jensen. They weren't willing to tag Carlton Davis, which one of those guys, I wouldn't be too upset to see him go. I'd let Carlton Davis walk to another team. He has not been a lockdown, shutdown guy that I think we should throw all the cap at. Not to mention our offensive line just lost Ali Marpet. Robert Hainsey, the guy from Notre Dame that we drafted last year, I don't think they're 1-for-1 where you can drop one and just pick up the other. We've still got Donovan. We've still got Kappa. We've still got Tristan Wirfs, who's rated the 6th best tackle in the league right now, 3 years in. So clearly he's a guy who we love.
Yeah.
And we're going to be trying to keep around. But Jensen, I think Jensen is the free agent that could make or break us. Jensen's the guy that if he walks, we could be looking at a serious time to say, okay, the Bucs are in rebuild mode. Even with all the studs that we have on this team.
Yeah. I don't see how we keep Jensen.
I don't either. Unless we can throw money at him somehow.
Yeah. If they get creative, maybe. But
the challenge is he's going to have to want to be here, and he's going to have to ignore stupid money from teams like Cincinnati.
Yeah.
That really, really want him and are willing to pay him crazy money to go.
They got the money to pay him.
And not to mention, they're a Super Bowl contender now. And protecting Joe Burrow is priority numero uno.
Yeah. Yeah, he would cash in anywhere, but since he would be smart and, these guys love money, they want that Super Bowl as well, and to become a 2-time?
Yeah.
You got to think he's thinking about that.
He's got to be. And the fact that one of the biggest relationships he had here was Tom Brady, and he's gone. Now, I think if TB12 was coming back, Jensen would be making the calls to stay in Tampa.
I think so, too.
But with that being the case, is he going to want to sit and block for the 2-year guy? I don't think so. I don't think that's the move. Without a premier quarterback who you're going to have to pay, I just don't see it happening.
Yeah.
And then, hey, Robert, time to step up, buddy. Time to get in there and do your thing, and hopefully he's that guy. He was really a highly touted linebacker coming out of Notre Dame, or center. So let's see. But then you still got to worry about Ali Marpet on the right-hand side. Or is he left guard? I think Marpet's a left guard.
Left guard. That was a big hit to lose him. Can't blame him at all for retiring.
No.
Why, live the rest of your life in a much better condition than if you stuck around for 4 or 5 more years.
Got himself to a Pro Bowl, got himself to a Super Bowl, won it. I mean, it was really a big deal to see Marpet go, but I agree with you. Him leaving, it makes sense.
Yeah.
So,
Jensen, to me, is just going to come down to the money, and I don't think the Bucs are going to be able to find it.
I don't think we're that team.
No.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ryan Glover
finally made it.
Joined us here at the table. Good to see you, big dog.
Good to see you guys too.
We just got done recapping a little bit of free agency moves, talking about some quarterbacks that are still on the board. What is the one thing you wanted to come in and talk about today?
I don't know.
Good.
I just heard you guys talk about Marpet.
Oh, yeah.
Talk about that.
Yeah.
Maybe touch in on Calvin Ridley.
Yes, he is next on the docket.
Yeah, so let's save that because I have a lot to say about that. This is just an entire clusterfuck of a situation.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the quarterbacks coming into this draft.
Let's talk about
quarterbacks
that.
coming into the league in this draft.
Let's talk about the NFL Combine. Did anybody watch?
I did not.
I watched a little bit of it.
I watched a little bit of it too.
I watched a lot of highlights.
I think the biggest winner of the entire Combine was that kid Jonathan Davis out of Georgia, the D tackle.
Boy.
Far and away, somebody told me, I forget who it was, that he was the best graded player to ever come out of the draft other than Calvin Johnson.
I don't know what his Wonderlic score was, but I know everything else.
Yeah.
He just wowed. And he ran a faster 40 than Mahomes.
Yeah, which is kind of crazy.
It's baffling. And
That
he
guy-
was 100th of a second slower than Jarvis Landry.
Jordan Davis was 4.7. Anytime you got a lineman running with the 4, and there were 5 linemen, defensive linemen, that ran sub 5 second 40s.
It's wild.
They're making them different.
Speaking of
nowadays.
linemen, did you see?
That's what. Thank you for saying that. So all these guys who go, oh man, if Barry Sanders was around, listen, Barry was great when he played, one of the greatest of all time. This is a 380-pound human running 4.7.
Yeah,
That they were not the same.
they are not the same.
that
Ever
can
since the
grab
combine
Barry
came in.
Sanders up with one hand
Yeah.
and throw him over his head, toss him on the sideline. if
It's
you
a
wanted to.
it's a different league.
Yeah.
All
It's
those
crazy.
guys that were bangers way back when, even Jerry Rice. Jerry catch a cold in the desert. But some of these press corners now, Jalen Ramsey, you don't think he could lock up Jerry Rice?
Oh, absolutely.
It was a different level of competition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've always said ever since the combine was introduced that it's just been different, especially like in the last 10, 15 years. It's just way different.
The
100%.
training that they work on
The
for
nutrition.
that, and then all the stuff that they do, like the training they do for the combine, and then they carry that over, and that's why you got guys running faster, jumping higher, cutting sharper, all of that stuff. It's crazy. Which let's be honest. How would Barry Sanders be today?
Yeah.
Going through all that training, I don't think
It would be different.
he would be astronomically more and so much better. Same with Jerry Rice and those guys. I think
Right.
it's leveled the playing field. Not to mention, think about now with these, something we had talked about, these nil deals and all the money these young kids have. They got more time to train and more money to spend on professionals to help them get there. You could now have a team of people around you that
By
your
the time
parents
you're
never
done
could
with
have
high
afforded.
school. By the
Right.
time you're done with high school.
You could have a nutrition coach and 3 trainers
Yep.
and pay them with one nil deal
Yep.
to be ready and at the peak performance. It's
I
gonna be
mean,
interesting.
if NIL was a thing way back when, Barry Sanders would have been a millionaire before he got to the league.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah,
mean,
absolutely.
Running. What's the record that he's got? He's got like 500 yards in one game. He's got over 2,000 yards a season. That guy was insane. He was just built different. But today, so is everybody else.
everybody's built different.
I mean, you look at Derrick Henry at
Yeah.
let's bring him up, but a guy
Prime
who's
example.
6'3", 50 something,
Yeah.
Prime example.
and runs like a 4 something. Like, get out of here.
That's the number one example in my opinion of built different.
Yeah.
Actually, mine
even-
still goes
even you?
to Calvin Johnson.
Yeah, Calvin
Look
Johnson.
at Calvin. I mean, Calvin was the difference maker. How is it these generational talents keep going into Detroit?
How even DK Metcalf is another freak of nature. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like,
Yeah, he is. I don't put him in the same category as Calvin, but he's damn sure a freak athlete.
yeah.
He's just so fast.
There's nobody that's putting 3 DBs on DK Metcalf at the line.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Probably won't happen.
Exactly.
Now
Well,
that-
Tua
now
ain't
that
going to
Russell
be able to
Wilson-
keep up with him.
Yeah.
So you're
exactly.
wasting that. You know?
Yeah. I mean, it's just getting wild right now. But the one quarterback that I wanted to talk about going into this draft was Desmond Ridder, the guy out of Cincinnati. In terms of his movement and his 40, he is number 1 in almost every category. Had the fastest 40, none of the quarterbacks benched, highest vert, longest broad jump. The only thing he lost were the shuttle drills to a guy named E.J. Perry, who's ranked as going to a practice squad.
Ouch.
Desmond Ridder did not go further than 3rd in any category. I take that back. He was 4th in the 3 shuttle, and nobody ran the 60 shuttle.
So you see, all right, that's great. Athlete.
Yeah.
We know that.
Yeah.
Has never seen real pressure in a football game and until they played Alabama and he couldn't beat them.
100%.
So he might be that's something you look at. So where do you think with this showing? I know we still got pro days.
Yeah.
Where do you think he's sitting right now?
Desmond Ridder?
Yeah, in people's war rooms,
I
whatever
don't
they call
think he's necessarily going to be a first-round pick, but I think somebody will steal him in the mid-second round.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Unless his pro day goes astronomically bad, they're going to look at him, and this is why I'm saying, like, so many of these guys don't even throw anymore. Like, Evan Neal didn't even go. I don't think he was even at the combine.
Well, you need to go to the combine for your name is Evan Neal.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just glad to see several mock drafts finally putting him at 1 to Jackson.
Because we're getting closer.
Yeah, they're
we're
paying
getting
attention now.
Yeah.
I hope he pulls that Dion. Like, just doesn't do anything. Just nothing. Call him up. Hey, what pick you got? Yeah, I ain't even gonna be there. Bye.
Mm-hmm.
Hang up.
He doesn't have to. That his 4-foot jump with the split handled everything that needed to be handled. Yeah. Although our boy O-line Mitch Petrus out of Arkansas put up 45 reps in the bench. 45 to 15.
Oh my gosh.
That's quite impressive.
Yeah. Strong though. How's that footwork?
Yeah,
you know what I mean,
that's a good thing. And I saw this poor guy. I didn't get to watch a lot of the combine, but this poor bastard out of Kentucky, I saw him fall on his ass, and I felt so bad for him.
Running the 40?
No, not running the 40. He was doing the shuttle drill, the back and forth. By the way, that guy that I mentioned was the all-time. I take that back. I'm sorry. The D-line got 29 reps for the max. That guy, 45, wasn't all-timer. I had the wrong list pulled up. But on the defensive line, or on the offensive line, Zion Johnson out of Boston College put up 32. Still, good God.
Yeah.
And this is a testament to, like, we got the list up here. Not a lot of these guys are going in and competing for everything. So it's just like you can tell that they're all waiting for their pro days, waiting for their individual interviews. That's really what they're there for.
Well, that, and two, you don't want to do something that you're not good at.
Right.
That may hurt your stock.
And a lot of these guys that just nobody really knows, like, of all the studs that showed up, Kenny Pickett and Desmond Ridder are the two that actually participated. Malik Willis was there as well. He threw, and I have to give Nello the props. That dude threw very well.
Yeah,
he had what looked like a 60-yard bomb right into the breadbasket. I mean, he was doing great. I think his Wonderlic was 32.
It was.
He did very well in the Wonderlic test, and he was filmed by a random bystander. Whether it was staged or not, I don't know, but giving clothes out of his suitcase to a homeless man.
I'm going to say it wasn't.
I'm going to say it wasn't too.
I don't think you do that.
I don't think he would have done that
too easily doing something like that. I think he's just a good dude.
Yeah.
But
his movement is great. He's looking like the combine helped him very much.
Yeah. It'll be in, but same with Ridder.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. You still got to look. I would assume that these front offices are looking and going, you haven't had nothing near NFL caliber talent across the line from you.
And that's his only argument is I haven't had NFL caliber talent on my offense either.
Right.
I mean, he was that whole offense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I go back to me though, like when I always say, when you're a football player, you're a football player.
Yeah.
Certain aspects, it doesn't matter who lines up against you, you're gonna do what you're gonna do.
Yeah.
I understand that completely. That is very valid.
And, if we can say that about Desmond Ridder, the same thing can be said for Kenny Pickett.
Yeah. Because my buddy used to go at me all the time about Lamar Jackson. I told him, bro, that kid's a football player at the end of the day. Like, nothing matters. It doesn't matter if he can throw the ball or not. He's going to win football games.
Sure. But he also has athleticism that's off the charts.
Well, that's part of being a football player. That's what I'm saying. It's like, they're like, oh, well, he's not going to do this, and he's not going to do that because he can't throw.
Well, his arm has been his Achilles heel. Now, if that guy had a Michael Vick style arm, we'd be seeing him perpetually in the Super Bowl.
Maybe. Who's he throwing the ball to, though?
Hollywood Brown. Mark Andrews.
Mark Andrews, yeah.
Hollywood Brown has been his best target, went over 1,000.
His only target.
I mean, hey, he's making it work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's with a style that Baltimore has. What else do you want? And I'm not trying to, like, I'm just saying, what else do you want for Lamar Jackson?
He doesn't have an offensive line either. That's another thing we're going to talk about that they need to beef up.
For sure. For sure. They need to protect him, and they need to adopt what I keep saying is that Michael Vick and Philly philosophy. Wait, make your reads, then run.
Yeah. Sometimes, though, that's one of those things, though. It's just instinct. Sometimes you just got to go.
Yeah.
Wait too long. And
No, you're not wrong. But in terms of winners and losers, I think Desmond Ridder did himself all the favors at the Combine. I felt like he did a great job. And Jonathan Davis, I'll tell you what, Georgia showed up this year. The amount of talent that they had that through the Combine was just showing out. Man after man after man. Dalvin Cook's little brother showed up, did pretty well in the 40, ran a 4.42 at his size.
Yeah, what I don't like is they still got a whole bunch of talent left for this year.
They sure
not
enough
happy about it.
They sure enough do. But that kid, the kid from Georgia, I don't know who's going to be early enough that has that absolute need at D tackle, but he is going to be a day one. This is my spot now.
He's got to go top 15, right?
I would say honestly.
I don't think he makes it out of the top 10.
Really
I
need
think he's
him.
going to go top 5.
He really can't
still
make
take
it out of
that guy.
Yeah, he can't make it out of the top 10. There's no way.
I honestly don't think he'll make it out of the top 5.
I just don't know what the needs are. I mean, we know the Jags are going to take Neal. They have to.
Yeah, that's a guarantee.
And if they don't, they're still
It's a
taking an
guarantee.
O-lineman. So that leaves 4.
All right, so let's take a look right here at the draft order, and we're looking at guys. Jacksonville Jaguars. We've talked about that. Evan Neal's
Lions
definitely the guy.
has to go offense.
No, they're not.
No.
They're projected to take Aiden Hutchinson, the D end out of Michigan. They're saying he's a homer pick because he went to Michigan. He's a freakish athlete, and now, as they do with all white defensive linemen, they're comparing him to TJ and JJ Watt. And they're just saying, oh, this guy's the next freak athlete. He's got all the right things, and I don't see it.
Why do you do that? Let's say even if he did, why do you do that?
Yeah.
How many games did they lose by less than a touchdown this last season?
Quite a few.
Wasn't it like half of them that they lost?
Yeah. They were competitive.
Why would you not take the second pick and get a stud receiver or something on offense?
Because receivers can be found later in rounds.
It's true.
Like
the receiver depth anymore, especially looking at the 40 times for those guys, there's a lot to be had, and not everybody has those deep needs. But in terms of who you're going to pick, if you're going to pick defensive lineman, why wouldn't you pick this kid?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you take the kid from Georgia? He's a freak.
Yeah.
And look at the main competition, Aaron Rodgers. Break that guy.
And you got to remember, they took Ndamukong Suh
Yeah.
early, like way back when. So.
And they had some flashes when Ndamukong Suh was there. And not to mention, defensive line is so important in today's league, because if the defensive line is able to get pressure, every single aspect of your defense feeds off of that.
Exactly.
I feel like I'm holding up Simba and that Jordan Davis kid.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here talking about the circle of life. You throw that kid in the middle, he's going to eat. It frees up your linebackers. When your linebackers can make plays, your defensive backs don't have to cover as long. Your safeties can sit there and help and shadow. It's an overall great pick.
Yeah, that's a good point.
An end, I don't get it, because I look at this too. Let's look at the and I'm sorry, I always go back to my Buccaneers, but this is the example that I've got to give. Simeon Rice. That guy had crazy amount of sacks every year he was here, but people don't really talk about him. Who do they talk about? Warren Sapp, Booger McFarland, because those two dudes ate up the middle, so then those tackles on the outside were on an island against a pretty damn good talent, but still, you're going to have everybody else benefit from somebody like that. So the Aiden Hutchinson pick, all you got to do is kick out a guard. And if you don't have anybody in the middle of that line, then what?
I mean, I go back to if he's dominant and he's as good.
Yeah.
Remember when J.J. Watt was an absolute fucking problem?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When he was healthy, J.J. Watt was by far the best football player in the
And that's
NFL.
the thing. JJ is running in a 3-4, so he's able to still be an interior lineman.
Yeah.
This kid, Hutchinson, I don't know if he can do that, because Michigan, he wasn't a game breaker, but in college at Wisconsin, neither was JJ. So maybe I'm wrong.
I'm just saying now, how many sacks did Hutchinson have against Alabama?
0.
Oh, exactly. Play good talent, and then all of a sudden...
And he's also going up against the guy who's going number 1.
Exactly. Well, going mid. I mean, when you get to the NFL, you're going to be going up against a lot of guys like that. That's kind of my point.
Exactly right.
Like, To me, I wouldn't waste a pick on Hutchinson. A defensive tackle?
Not at second overall.
Not a second overall, no.
At second overall, I'm going to pick a proven commodity that's a winner, a national champion, and a guy who just blew the combine up. I don't care if Detroit has major talent in the interior. Make it better.
Yeah.
What's to lose? Now you've got this stud who you can rotate, and you're going to keep the consistent pressure there. It's just silly to me. But you go down the line, and there's everybody here who could benefit from a defensive lineman. Some of them have a lot more needs than others. Houston, Lord knows, they got more needs, and Carter's got little pills. Yeah. New York Jets, they've got some pieces in place. They're not as needy, but they could use this kid. And the Giants need everything. You talk about the Giants, they need everything.
Everything.
But, Giants might actually be a team that does that because they pick 5th and 7th.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah.
And, Nello, if he was here, he loves to talk about how many picks the Eagles have in round 1. They may need to use some of those picks to move up to get somebody, to go get that special someone.
Do they have a need to go get a guy like that, though?
They have plenty of
needs. The Eagles have a pretty solid front seven. So
right. They have a good defense. Their defense got them to the playoffs, but the rich get richer, man.
Facts. I'm like that in Madden. You know what? I'll take another defensive tackle that's
right.
rated 90
and at this point, you're getting down into number 10. How many elite tackles are you still going to have?
Not many.
Right. Their first pick is 15. How many of those round 1 really high-graded offensive linemen are going to be there for them? Because obviously Jalen Hurts is going to be a big priority to protect because they're clearly not going quarterback.
Yeah. Wonder if they try to get somebody to offset Devontae Smith.
Yeah, they should. Because if I already hear Jalen Reagor getting screamed at in my ear.
Mm-hmm. I can tell you this. The best D lineman left when the Browns pick, that's who they'll take.
Yeah.
So, and they're like 12th or 13th or right out of the top 10. They're going to take the best available left, I'm sure.
Well, hey, let's take our first break of the day, and then we'll get back into to some of the quarterbacks and where we think they might go in terms of the draft, because I think a lot of guys did do a lot for themselves. I want to talk about that, and I want to talk about the implosion of the Dallas Cowboys. See you guys in a minute. And we're back. Time to talk about some of these young bucks trying to come in and make a impact in the league. Where do we think they go?
To the bench.
First needy quarterback team on the list, Houston Texans at number 3, but I don't see any quarterback in this draft that's worth a number 3 overall pick. And they also liked Davis Mills quite a bit.
Yeah,
he did a good job. I could see them going with a lineman or something like that. But yeah, I don't see that. And then you've got these teams at New York, maybe, but I don't think so. Think they're going to give Danny Dimes one more year. Zach Wilson, they drafted last year in the Jets, so he's not going anywhere. Carolina, though, are the ones that everybody's starting to make that outrageous pick of Kenny Pickett to Carolina. That's the one they're saying. He's the guy. They're going to pick up Kenny Pickett. Sam Darnold had his 1 year, and your boy was talking all that shit, saying that Carolina was going to be that team.
Yeah.
And then they crumbled soft bread.
I thought they
blue cheese.
I want to say I read someone. Didn't they trade for somebody or in the process of trading for someone?
They've been talking about it, but they haven't made anything final, if I'm not mistaken.
I want to see. I thought I saw that someone got signed by them.
When I look at the free agent marker of quarterbacks, nobody's been brought over to the Panthers. PJ Walker is the only one who's been extended.
Yeah, I don't remember anything.
And as of right now, Cam is an unrestricted free agent. He's not going.
What's the latest on Cousins?
That's what I thought. I thought Cousins got traded to him.
That was a flash in the pan kind of thing. I don't think that
was just
happened.
Discussion. No, they definitely did get traded because I would have read that.
Cousins definitely did not get traded to the Panthers. I'm going to look it up here while I'm here. Kirk Cousins, definitely still with the Vikings. There was somebody, and this is one of those things, man. The media anymore is terrible. They are willing to just say whatever they want to say.
Well, yeah, they got it. Hey, I blame us.
Yeah.
I blame people.
Yeah.
Because they've got to get the clicks. They've got to get the people to open the articles.
Yeah.
And it's ruined it.
Yeah, I'm looking at an NFL site right now, and the first thing on here is the net worth of reality TV's biggest stars. Click on this by New Arena. Piss off.
And it's it's Captain Lee from Below Deck.
I don't know who that is.
I mean, that's the coolest dude in the world. That man is a cool cat.
I don't know if I believe you.
He is.
I'll let you love him enough for both of us.
You got it. We can throw Ryan in there too. I love him a lot.
Wow.
I don't watch much reality TV.
I don't watch any reality
That's my
TV
smut
because
TV. I call it
it's
smut
not
TV.
reality.
It's not at all.
It's all just cuts.
Yeah. They go back and redo it so many times to get the shot, so it's not reality.
What's that? They come back. Now, back on the ship. I feel something, guys. Something's going on. Never mind. We're cool. Got it. Handled. Oh, how about Atlanta? How about Atlanta?
Oh, God.
Boy, they're in big trouble. Matty Ice, they're talking about getting rid of him. Where's he going to go?
I mean, they need to.
Retirement.
He's got too much guaranteed money. They can't just say, we're not going to pay you.
Right.
So it's either they keep him as a serviceable quarterback or they cut him and pay him anyway.
They got to start finding his replacement last year, honestly. That's my opinion.
This would be, I think this is his last year.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
speaking of Atlanta.
Yeah. Speaking of Atlanta, you said you had a lot to say about Calvin Ridley. Now, here's the facts. He had retired from football for his mental health and was not wanting to return, even though he did tweet that he's just going to come back stronger. And while he was away from the team, there is a zero tolerance policy on sports betting in terms of the league that you're in. And Calvin, while away from the team, bet on his Falcons to beat the Lions and bet $1,500.
Why would you even make that bet?
What's the return on that?
So, I don't know what it would have been.
I mean, it could have been great. Long story short is he wasn't with the team. He wasn't playing. He doesn't know anything about the outcome. And the amount of money, you guys fine people $20,000 for wearing the wrong pair of socks.
Yeah. It's dumb on his part, knowing the rules.
Super dumb.
Ridiculous on the NFL's part to levy that. They're doing that. There's some spite in there. This is all just think of Goodell as the bully on the playground and doesn't want to show any weakness whatsoever. That is a BS punishment, in my opinion.
What was his punishment?
He's suspended the entire next season.
That's what I thought.
All of 2022.
So it wasn't like an indefinite ban. He just can't.
No, just an entire season. Now, if he was on the roster, totally different. Ban him all you want to, because then there's zero gray area and everybody knows the rules. But given the situation, I think it's BS.
By the way, Mike Williams, 3 years, $60 million. Good for the Chargers.
Yeah.
But I want to bring up something in terms of those bets, and I got two sides of it. So Calvin Ridley, he's banned 17 games for using FanDuel. Josh Gordon, been gone for 6 whole seasons for smoking weed. Ezekiel Elliott, he's accused of hitting a woman, 6 games. Adrian Peterson, y'all remember when he took the switch and beat the hell out of that little boy? 6 games.
You mean gave him a whooping?
Hey, listen, I remember getting whoopings with a belt, with all kinds of stuff. That was different. Greg Hardy beat up his girlfriend 4 games. Ray Rice knocked his fiance out 2 games. What the fuck's going on here?
They watched that video of Ray Rice knocking her out.
They dropped him from the league.
No, the Baltimore Ravens dropped him. but he got suspended by the league for 2 games.
Well, he was blacklisted from the league.
But still, he could come back if anybody wanted him.
Well, actually, I don't even think that was the case because
nobody wanted him.
Well, that's not the truth. I mean, I don't think that's true.
We're talking about suspensions handed down by the league specifically. You're not wrong. Ray Rice definitely got blackballed. Nobody was picking him up.
Same with Adrian Peterson, but it's funny because...
But AP just played last year.
Yeah, but
that switch thing was like 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah, he was blackballed for a couple years. But still, if the teams make that decision, that's fine. Mm-hmm. But if you're going to... The biggest one is Gordon smoking weed.
Yeah.
And the fact that they have suspended Ridley for an entire season over that, when the NFL fully supports gambling.
Now they're having commercials about making sure you monitor your bets, guys.
Yes. And so that's my thing. Again, if he's on the roster, even if he's on the roster but sitting on the bench
and inactive
and with the team,
right,
all day, kick him out of the league forever, lifetime ban. Sure, that's the way that's the rules. But when you're away from the team, you have retired. I guess technically it's like with Brady, right? So Brady's technically on the Bucs through June.
Sure.
So I guess he's on the team, but he's not in contact with them. There's no insider trading going on, of that, no stuff like that.
Right.
He's betting on the team to win, and he's away from the team completely and not looking at coming back. It just doesn't make sense to me.
It doesn't make sense to me.
It's not like being a bully.
It's not like several years ago, you guys remember Paul Crewe was playing for Pittsburgh, and he was busted for point shaving. And he had to end up going down to Allenville.
Shaving points.
And going to Allenville and playing football down there in a prison guard league. And he ended up leading the Mean Machine in overtime for the victory. Well, at the end of his time expired. That's the only other case.
If I'm not mistaken, they're convicts, so they always win for the win.
Yep.
That's right.
Yeah, to me, I mean, a lot of these punishments are just, they don't always fit the crime.
Money.
But, I mean, what do you gain from kicking out a great star? You know what I mean? A kid that was going to be up and coming for betting $1,500
This is something that the NFL... No, there's the kicker that I didn't even think about. The NFL is partnering with gambling websites and openly advertising them with their own personalities.
Yeah.
And I was going to say, FanDuel, how would he even know it's technically him?
Yeah.
I mean, it's FanDuel, so if his phone, mine, now you can just pick up my phone, you can make a FanDuel bet right now.
And that's the other part of this. Ridley was so dumb. Hey, buddy.
Yeah.
That nobody would be able to come back to or track.
Do me a solid.
I need you to lay this bet.
Yep.
But see, here's the
how
thing.
hard is that?
You got it. You know you're not making a lot off of a $1,500 bet. I saw a meme that was like, wagered $1,500, lost 11.1 million.
Yeah.
Like, come on, bro. Like,
my thing is
just, it's stupid.
It was $1,500 on Atlanta to beat Detroit.
Yeah.
If it was money line, he's risking $1,500 to win less, because the Falcons had to have been the favorite.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
If he's betting anything else, it's just he's betting $1,500 to win $1,500.
Again, if he's wearing a Falcons uniform, I got a major issue with that. I don't want to. That's something that's got to be addressed and addressed immediately.
I don't know. For me, man, I always feel like Pete Rose. Like, if you're betting on yourself to win, I mean, who cares? Like, I'm gonna show up. Yeah, I'm gonna go burn Jalen Ramsey. I got $1,500 on me.
Yeah,
I'm not mad at that.
Right.
I think that should be allowed 100%. I'm right there with you.
Like,
common sense.
Yeah, I mean, that's dumb. I thought it was just like a cheese on wood kind of a bet with his boy. I got $1,500 on the Falcons, and somehow it got back to the NFL. I didn't realize the guy used FanDuel.
Yeah.
I didn't look too much into it. These guys.
Now, side bets like that's all day. Those guys gamble all day long. Like,
that's kind of
baseball teams gambling with cards with their travel money. That's still the same thing. He had to go to an official betting site and bet that like that.
$1,500, bro. At this point, that should be literally ice cream money in your pocket. Like, you shouldn't even.
Yeah. That's your per diem for the trip to Carolina.
$1,500. Like, to me, it's just dumb. Just, oh man, these kids, they're just.
These kids with their betting.
Between Ruggs and then the guy with the gun. Like, I just don't get it. Like, if I was your age, I would trade positions with you in an instant. You know what I mean? Like, it's dumb.
So, to the other side of that, AB, who's been with us on the show before, had an excellent point. And the reason that these are strict penalties is there isn't a definite rule for NFL behavior and discipline. It's very gray in terms of the abuse and stuff like that. It's easier to have a direct discipline for gambling because the punishment fits, the crime is right there. We know exactly what you did. And with these domestic situations, there's some, there was extenuating circumstances.
Except for Ray
This is
Rice.
what happened. Right. Except for poor old Ray. It's easier to have direct discipline for gambling. Anything to do with the justice system is always subjective. So,
which is very true.
And it's 100% accurate.
Because I was actually going to bring up the whole Kareem Hunt thing when they were going to throw down that verdict on him.
Yeah.
The NFL plain and said the kid's too young and too good. We'll go after him. And immediately after he was dropped, Cleveland signed him. And they only gave him the 8 weeks instead of, or whatever it was, instead of a ban, because they just knew that they were going to fight, try to get him back in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And given his circumstances, should have did what he did, but I understand it.
Somebody had an interesting tweet that said they should mandate that you have to bet on your own team so that we get peak performance out of everybody.
Yeah.
But that's the common sense take that you should be allowed to. Now, the moment you bet against yourself or your team, then you're done. But I think you should be able to do that.
Especially because so many people already think the NFL's rigged.
They do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And the Super Bowl didn't help that.
Yeah, 28-3. I'm just going to bring that up there.
I mean, that's where clearly Dan Quinn was betting on the Patriots.
Yep.
I mean, that's the only time I could be like, yeah, sure, that makes sense, but it still doesn't.
Or Goodell was hanging out with fucking Vince McMahon, and he's like, yo, imagine this. Tom Brady goes to win, come back from behind to win his sixth ring. Make it a great storyline,
I just find it hard to believe that you could convince 52 other guys.
Shit.
The thing is you don't really have to convince 52.
What do those 52 guys come to work to do? What do they play that game for?
Yeah.
Money?
Yeah,
you don't think the NFL ain't got it?
Sure.
But
so here's this.
That's too far.
Let's
look
at the contracts that they have. You can earn $200 million over 10 years or whatever, some silly contract. But they go, but here's $50 million right here. You'll get this $50 million if you win the Super Bowl. So is somebody going to come to them and say, I'm going to pay everybody their bonuses?
Yeah, well, one, Super Bowl bonuses ain't that big.
I know, it was a hypothetical,
I get
but
it.
still.
But I mean, perfect example.
$1 million, easy, $1 million.
Look at Flores, who could have won $100,000 a game just to
That's the great analogy to this is
like
nobody got in trouble at the Dolphins for that.
Is there a paper trail that shows that, or are we still going off of Flores' word?
I mean, you're not going to assassinate.
They're not going
to do anything to a team
asking.
owner.
Yeah, but my point being though is if you, I'll tell you right now, you stroke a check, bro. I do whatever the fuck you want me to. Just no gay shit. You know what I mean? And depending on how many commas in it, we might could talk.
I'd be standing there going, "Well, you are my employer, so I'm a company man."
Yep, I do what I got to do.
Guys, I'm sorry, I don't see eye to eye with you on this one.
I'm just kidding. I'm
the Brian Flores of this podcast right now.
I think it's a dumb punishment. I think there's a lot of other instances that you can point to that shows it's dumb. Anthony makes a very good point, and it's very spot on. But I mean, at the end of the day, I don't think the whole 23 comeback was the fix is in. But you look at that Super Bowl and the refs are how you can do something like that.
For sure.
And the way they didn't call hardly anything at all until towards the end. And then everything they called, one flag after the other to help the Rams get it done.
Crazy.
That's suspect. That's enough suspect to me.
Yeah.
Also, the big no call for the Saints. That was another one that I was like, ooh.
Which one? This season?
Was disgusting.
Was that this season?
No, when the
he's
wide receiver practically gets tackled.
He's talking about the play that had them make it allowed to review pass interference.
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about a couple
against
years
the Vikings.
Ago.
Yeah.
Against,
it was the Vikings.
It wasn't the Vikings.
No, what?
It wasn't the Vikings.
I want to say it was the Colts.
It was the Rams.
No, it wasn't the Rams, was it?
It was the Rams. Because the play before that is when they got a really bad call that they didn't call on the Rams the drive before, which would have punched it in and into that game. So, all those Saints fans that are crying, you can shut.
Are you sure it wasn't the
fuck
Vikings?
up.
I am 100% sure it is the Rams.
It is the Rams because the play drive before that, they stopped the Rams, and the Rams only got a field goal when there should have been an obvious face mask that should have been called that would have put them on the one. Yep. And you're telling me Gurley wouldn't have got in on the one on 4 downs?
Yeah.
Would have changed the game either way. So them crying about a no call, all you Saints fans can go fuck yourselves.
But still, that is the ugliest call of all time.
Nah.
Yeah, no, that is.
Nah. There's another one.
It's almost as bad as the replacement refs, one calling a touchdown, one calling incomplete in the Packers game.
The last one was pretty recent. The one with the whistle, that was pretty bad of the Bengals.
Yeah.
That was really bad.
There was nothing that would have stopped that, but you're right.
And when the whistle blows, the play is over. So that's that.
The ball's already in the air. He's in the motion to catch it when the whistle blows. That's still a touchdown.
Whistle blew. Boo it dead. That's the game. Those are the rules.
No.
And there's also the Green Bay, what was it? Green Bay Seahawks, when someone caught the ball, had the ball, and they ruled it an interception when it should have been a touchdown or something.
That's the one I'm talking about. The one where they called it a touchdown and one called it a no call, and they came back and called it a no touchdown.
Yeah, that was pretty bad too.
Yeah. The refs definitely need some work. They really do. I don't know what we could do to change that or make it any better. But
I think make everything fucking reviewable if you have to. The game's already slowed down as it is, but when it comes to certain things like that, like especially when you see it on the replay, like something obvious like a face mask, like bro,
sure,
you know what I mean?
Well, I don't know. I still put weight into the fact that it's easy for us to condemn these refs when we get to watch it in super slow, super slow-mo, clear as day.
And there is the big problem is that there's
you have to
human
leave
element.
some human element in there. You have to.
Mm-hmm.
I believe.
But I like to be able to review from upstairs.
Yes, but
now when there's
reviewables.
blatant calls like that or blatant no calls, the upstairs ref should be able to say, "Ew, hold on, let's go back here."
Right.
That's what I'm saying. It's
especially with what happens with the Super Bowl. There was a blatant no call that definitely went the Bengals' way.
Yeah.
And that would change the game.
Jamar Chase, or no, what Jamar Chase? It was
Jalen Ramsey.
No,
Jalen Ramsey got face mask.
That's what I'm saying.
Higgins
it was
that
Higgins
that did it,
grabbed
not
him.
Chase. Yeah.
So-
That was. I don't even know how they missed that. Because when his head went like that, I'm like, they didn't call that?
Yeah.
He about ripped his neck. He about made him look like an owl. It was ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, you got to leave human element in there
for sure.
Look at what baseball's trying to do. You know, they're talking about just going to a camera and computer system to call strikes and balls.
To me, the baseball it makes sense because you can do it. I mean, a strike zone is from here to here.
Right, you can do that easily.
And there is a human
but
element.
I still
to
don't
that
like
too,
it. I like human element
because the ump has looked at the batter and been like, "You better swing at whatever's coming." Because it's going to be a strike.
Yeah,
and umpires are egotistical like that.
Big time.
And that's one of the things.
That's why they throw people out so much, so easily.
Refs, like you were just talking about, refs can be swayed to do different things. So that's why, to me, you get rid of that human element too. Then there's no bias. It is just what it is.
Yeah. That makes for a boring ass game, though.
It'll still be the game. It'll just be called right. You won't have anybody coming in here. Well, you guys should have called that. If
well,
they
this is one of those
won.
things that what's that age old thing? There's holding on every play. Nobody would get anywhere. Every single play, the computer would be like holding 77, 10 yards.
And then you know what? You gotta learn to not fucking hold.
And it's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. Every single play it happens.
You just got to get better at hiding
We're going to have a lot. We're going to quarterbacks are going to start having the careers of running backs. They're done after 7 years tops, if that's the case. Because if they can't hold, you're going to have a lot of sacks.
Yep.
A whole lot.
I'm like, he touched his helmet with his big pinky toe. I saw that. He's out of there. Give him 15 yards for roughing the passer.
Yep.
I would like to see some change in that. They need to be able to rough that passer a little more, in my opinion.
Aaron Donald farted in the general direction of the quarterback, 15 yards.
That will do some damage, I bet.
I bet it would.
A lot of protein.
All those protein
just The grass is
Somebody hear Miles Davis out
That's
there?
why everybody's turf now.
Yeah.
It just kills the grass.
Oh, my gosh. All right, let's take another break, and then we're going to get into the AFC North.
Yeah.
Shall we?
Yeah.
Talk about our predictions. We're all going to do a team effort on all of them, but mainly on the Cincinnati Bengals.
Which I've got as talking points.
Good deal.
So don't worry, Nelly.
All right, so we will be right back. See you soon. And we're back to the Cigar City Sports Podcast with your hosts Jack Austin, Ryan Glover, and Clay Wilkinson. Now let's get back to the fun.
Black Kirk Cousins. That was in a team meeting.
So we heard a quote. We were about to talk about them old Dallas Cowboys before we get into our AFC North, and I saw this, and I got to thank Camilo. I think he's the one who posted it. But we were talking about how the Cowboys are imploding, and they paid all that money. Oh, no, it was Nello. Nello, you posted this. Thanks, buddy. Reportedly, Cowboys and Amari Cooper and Dak Prescott got into a verbal confrontation after the playoff loss to the 49ers. Cooper referred to Prescott as the Black Kirk Cousins in a meeting which sent the Cowboys QB into a fury.
In a meeting, so that's just in front of all the guys that are in there.
Come on, man. Damn, you're the Black Kirk Cousins. Dak was like, what?
God.
That explains why they want him out of there now. I was like, why would you just release Amari Cooper?
After paying him all that money.
I don't get it.
Him being arguably the best route runner in the game. He's one of. He's up there in the
He's
conversation.
way up there.
Man, all of a sudden he's gone. All right, so let's get into the AFC North before we get any further. Let's get into it. Let's start with the Bengals, because we have Mr. Nello not here, and we're all just kind of double team that one. So I'm going to go to the list of free agents. Let me find Cincinnati.
While you do that, I'm going to give you his talking points. He said,
Sure.
Bates got tagged.
Bates got tagged. I saw that earlier.
That's a smart move by them.
Yeah. They need O-line.
Obviously,
Of course, he says Jensen would be the best option,
and he is,
because he is the best.
He
option.
is the best option.
You guys are retaining him?
We're trying to, but we don't know if we can afford what other teams can afford for him.
Yeah, if it comes
And with
down
our
to money.
and with our tag being on Chris Godwin,
Yeah.
it would have been smart to tag Jensen.
And I called it. That's exactly what they did.
Yep.
Plus, they still have other decisions to be made,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Carlton
so
Davis.
if you do take Jensen, right, what happens with not just Carlton Davis, but
Yeah.
I mean, what are you looking at other, like what happens to Jordan Whitehead?
Yeah. Well, Whitehead's not going to be half as expensive as any of these guys.
I understand,
Mark
but
Pat
if you
that
sell
should
the
help.
farm
Cap
to
room.
Jensen, you know you got a lot of other guys that it really limits your ability.
And we're looking at, in a couple years, we're looking at Vita Vea, and we're looking at Jordan or Devin White, which are going to command huge salaries that they will be worth and they will be paid.
They also need cornerback help.
Well, that's his comment about Eli Apple.
Yeah.
I mean, and I don't disagree, but that was not their biggest hole, I don't think. O-line is clearly the biggest need for Cincinnati, in my opinion.
Agreed, and he did too. He said they definitely need they will definitely draft O linemen.
Yeah,
which is very true.
Let's take a look. Let's take a look at some of these guys coming out on the line just from this
the quarterback
combine.
situation's terrible too.
The what is?
That Joe Burrow kid. He's no good.
Oh yeah, they clearly have the big three. They've got wide receivers. They got a running back in Mixon who was a beast, and they've got Joe Burrow. Offense, other than, and their tight end was productive too. He was Uzama. He wasn't all world, but he was damn sure serviceable. He would be a starter on almost any team.
Yeah. I think they also need a little help on D.
Yeah.
That
Well, their
front-
defensive line is great. Those two guys up front, man, they kept them in the game.
Yeah, but I mean, like their linebackers are,
Yeah.
and definitely their corners are suspect as hell.
Their corners, their secondary is their biggest need on defense.
Eli Apple is a goddamn liability.
You just don't like what he ended up doing, man. He ended up talking too much shit. He shouldn't have, man. And I was that guy in the locker room when I heard players talking shit that I would just walk over and go, shut your mouth. You need to do this on the field. You want to win on the field.
Yeah.
Shut your mouth.
As my cousin used to always say, let your scoreboard do the talking.
Uh-huh. And Eli Apple clearly missed that day. And this was his biggest thing, man, since getting drafted to New York and being kind of in a crap situation, then going to the Bengals and doing really well, and then getting to the spotlight. And
he was all right in New York.
Why didn't they keep him?
I don't know.
Exactly. For a team that needs all the help they can get, letting go of somebody like that says something.
Well, I was saying back in the day, like, Eli Apple's been around for a while.
He has. What is he, 8 years, 9 years?
Yeah, because I was going to say, I'm pretty sure he was on a team where they won the Super Bowl.
So guys that they've re-signed already. Thaddeus Moss at tight end, which is Randy's little son. Clay Johnson at linebacker, so they clearly thought he was going to be. He played 10% of the snaps all year.
Hold on, Randy Moss named his son Thaddeus?
He did. Bro. And then we have Jalen Davis.
Mozart fan.
Jalen Davis at cornerback. He's been re-signed as well. And then we've got Jesse Bates, who got the franchise tender, who played 84% of the snaps. But guys that are going to need to be re-signed for them are Uzama. Big time. He's a free agent. He's somebody that's going to have to come back. Trey Flowers is another one they're going to have to do something with. He's not like their number one starter, but he's going to need to be staying on that team because he played 32% of their snaps. He's 27. He's been affordable for them. They need to bring somebody like him back. But yeah, in the draft, I'm addressing O-line first and foremost. But they've got a lot of needs, but they've got a lot more money.
Yeah.
So the Bengals, I think, are looking good in terms of this. They can afford, when it comes to their pick, to pick best available, and then just get depth after that. And this is all going to change when we get to free agents anyway.
Oh, no, I was wrong. Eli Apple's only been in the league 6 years.
Oh, has he? Okay. Where did he come from? Where did he come from?
Ohio State, I believe.
Yeah, that sounds right. If we're going by alphabetical order, that would put you next, Mr. Ryan. Looking at Baltimore, the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, he went to Ohio State, and I still have a beef with whoever wrote the Ohio State in the Wikipedia. You guys knock that off.
Yeah, come on, guys. Just chill with that, please.
I mean, they're not much different. The Ravens, they definitely need no line for Lamar to run behind.
Yeah.
Or, my bad, throw behind.
They also need I think they need running back help. They had some serviceable
they have
rotations.
J.K. Dobbins. You remember the Grim Reaper of Achilles and ACLs was out to get him in last year. So they had a lot of injuries that messed up their whole running game. So
honestly, I'm also looking at my my grounds guys and saying, fix what's going on with this field. I don't care if you have to dig up the whole damn thing and put a whole new turf field down. I don't care. Fix it. Because they had way too many injuries, and it was every other day.
Yeah, I mean, they lost Marcus Peters, which they also need to work on their secondary. That was another big point. Their offensive and defensive line was their major points, though, that they need to.
But they've got Patrick Queen on defense. They've got great guys on defense they need to, but they really are going to have to throw some money. What's their cap situation?
They only got $9 million in cap right now, but they're saying that they can restructure, or they're going to try to restructure a lot of things, and they have a few guys that are leaving, like they're losing Calais Campbell.
Well, they don't necessarily have to lose him, but he could definitely be on the chop.
Yeah,
he's owed $8 million, and it's guaranteed $8 million. But he played 56% of their snaps and is a game changer. He's definitely somebody I would bring back. Brandon Williams on the other offensive line is coming back. Here's one I want to ask you. What about Sammy Watkins? Is he worth bringing back?
If you can get him cheap enough.
He's $5 million a year right now.
I mean, Sammy Watkins, when he's healthy, he can play some football. When he's not just, putting the ball down on the one before he actually scores and whatnot. But
sure. What about Justin Houston? I think he's another guy who needs to come back too.
I mean, Justin Houston's up there, man.
He is, but he played over half their snaps on defense.
Which is crazy. I was just looking at the Calais Campbell. He said 56% of the snaps.
Yeah.
Bro, I'd love to do half my job and only $1. You mean 50% of the snaps?
When you're that big, how about this guy, Anthony Everett? He's a cornerback that's been with the team, and he played 74% of all defensive snaps. He's somebody that you probably want to bring back, and you can bring him back cheap. They've already signed Kevon Seymour. They've already signed Tony Jefferson, so 2 safeties. So clearly they look at the secondary first.
Yeah. Apparently that's one of their biggest, needs. I mean, I'm pretty sure if they could, they would just reclone Ed Reed.
If anybody in the league could clone Ed Reed, they'd clone Ed Reed. I don't care who your team is. If you had an Ed Reed-esque character, you're taking it.
And they're also working on cloning
Ray.
Ray. Yeah.
They got Patrick Queen. They got pretty darn close. Patrick Queen is a beast.
And Suggs and Suggs, Mosley, you know.
Yeah, you just want to bring back that
bringing him back. They're just bringing up the whole squad.
Okay. They also had Courtney Upshaw from Alabama for a long time, who was a game wrecker for us. And I couldn't believe he, went to the Ravens and didn't just have a world beater career. He was such a good player. But Latavius Murray on a 1-year deal, Devonta Freeman on a 1-year deal. I mean, they're looking at losing their free agents. Who are they going to get? And hopefully,
well, I mean, remember
J.K. Dobbins can stick around.
I was going to say those guys were just to replace the guys that got hurt. So
you need depth at running back. Every team in the league now needs 2 running backs.
They definitely do need depth because they went through who was it? It was J.K. Dobbins,
Mark Ingram,
and then
Mark ended up going back to the Saints. Yeah, that's what he wanted.
But they had another. I'm trying to remember the running back that the other running back that tore his ACL as well.
Well, they had Le'Veon Bell, Latavius Murray, and Devontae Freeman. Are you talking about Patrick Ricard? He's a fullback.
The fullback, yeah. No, I don't think it was him.
So if you're drafting for the Baltimore Ravens, where are you going? First round.
What pick? I didn't even remember what pick they got.
Let's take a look. I can tell you that information. I can find it for you.
Because honestly,
we have the technology.
My pick was Davis, but
I don't
think they're that high though. I think they're mad low, and at that point, it's kind of scraps.
Do they have a first round pick?
They should.
Let's see.
I don't think they traded anything out to.
They picked 14th.
Oh, so that's
they picked before the Philadelphia Eagles too. Man, oh man, being 15 overall.
I doubt that he's going to be there, but
Davis, he better not be.
No, I mean Olave or one of those guys.
Oh God, Chris Olave, he would be a good pickup for them
be a good
too.
Spot pickup, but
a little early, but still a good pickup.
I don't know what the help that they need to. Well, yeah.
I think if you're looking at offense, wide receiver to help Lamar, but definitely keeping Lamar standing straight up. Yeah. It's best available for me if I'm the GM. Don't be surprised if Jameson Williams goes there to Baltimore because the owner, Ozzie Newsome, he loves picking Bama boys to go to Baltimore. He is notorious for that, almost as notorious as Jerry Jones picking dudes from Arkansas. So I think that's going to be interesting for them. They are in kind of a middle-of-the-road situation. They are in arguably one of the toughest divisions in football. I'd say right now with Russ going to the AFC West, that is the best QB division in football. I think that makes them the most exciting. But Baltimore Ravens, man, that's a good one. So, do we want to go down the line, start talking about them Cleveland Browns?
Let's talk about them Browns.
The Browns have already signed their right tackle, who was their number one free agent that they needed.
Who was that?
That is Mr. Jack Conklin.
Jack Conklin. That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
They franchised Yoku.
Yeah, David Njoku. Really? Now, that was interesting to me. I don't disagree with it, but, I mean, that was interesting. They've got other guys that they could get. Clowney, he's entering a voidable year, but we'll see what he's going to do. I mean, they could win, but he played 60% of the snaps last year.
Well, I'm not paying Clowney that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it was a bad idea. I mean, they need a lot of help on defense.
Yeah.
A lot. So if they can keep Clowney for pretty cheap, which I wouldn't be surprised if they can.
That motherfucker wanted $18 million.
Well, but who's going to pick him up though? Is my thing. That's the other side of the coin, right? Is who? It doesn't matter what he wants if nobody else is willing to pay it, right?
I gotta tell you, looking at this, the majority of their free agents are starters on defense.
Yeah, they need D-line, linebacker, safety. Chubb's a great running back. They're good at running back.
God, yeah.
So that's fine.
And I think, obviously, with Jarvis Landry, if they can bring him back and have him produce, and I don't mean bring him back in terms of a contract, but from his injury.
I think they trade him. That gives them a lot of opportunities.
I don't think they will. They wouldn't trade
if they traded Landry, that would free up a lot of cap space.
Who's catching the ball for him?
Well, you go
for
find
their
somebody.
subpar quarterback.
You find somebody
in the draft,
you maybe, or you trade Landry and you get some folks. But they got to go in on Mayfield this year. It is what it is. I don't, he just had shoulder surgery, but he's supposed to be back and ready to go full speed for the season. You got to give him another year's chance, right? So there's that. And they basically need, let's say they keep Clowney, the entire D-line outside of him they need to replace. That's and they need a linebacker.
Let's also look at their cap
and they
situation.
need a safety.
Can they afford to be spend happy? Cleveland Browns, they got $19 million in cap space.
Landry trade would free up it's some crazy number, like doubles their cap space.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's what's nuts about it. And so maybe you use that 13th pick to get a wide receiver, get a stud right out of college.
I mean, there you go. I mean, but who are we looking at? Because the guy who did have the best combine in terms of wideouts that did a lot for himself was Chris Olave out of Ohio State. Yeah. He ran a blazing 40. He catches everything. But old boy from Penn State that Nello tagged, he's a senior, and the last guy that came out of Penn State that looked like him was Chris Godwin. So this is another thing. There's depth in this draft for wide receivers.
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
Yeah, did they extend Baker?
Baker Mayfield has been extended. He's on the team. He's not going to be a free agent for a little while.
Yeah, that's the thing, man. They've got to go all in on Baker this coming season.
Jarvis is a free agent next year, by the way.
Right.
And that's all they've got for after that.
They're half their defense. They need a lot of improvement on.
I think they are in the worst position in this division.
I would agree 100%.
And I thought this year was their year. They were going to catch it on fire and do something, and then they just fell apart. And does that fall on the coach? Because I thought their coach was doing an okay job. I think it falls on Baker.
I think it's all on Baker, honestly.
I don't think they're in the worst shape because they're the Browns and they've always been in that shape.
But in this division, though,
it's par for the course.
In this, division,
for them,
right.
but Baker Mayfield kind of. I'm not going to say he's a flop yet. That's a little strong, but
I'd call it.
Not meeting expectations
easily.
Kid Jenner never got drafted.
Is a problem.
He ain't that good.
I do think there's a couple quarterbacks in this draft that I would take over Baker Mayfield. Yep. More specifically, Kenny Pickett. I would take him. But you could see somebody in the second round go to Cleveland at quarterback, and that's a direct message to Baker Mayfield. Old boy from Cincinnati, if he went there with the athleticism that he's got, if he can make a throw on the run, we'll see.
If they got him in the draft, we'd see him playing next season. Not easily. Starting. No, they'd have they would have play calling just built around him and would use him, I bet.
I wouldn't be surprised if he
make him like a gadget player.
Yeah, but I don't think they're going to do that.
If he beat Baker out, I wouldn't be surprised if he started. Because it ain't hard.
Again, if they need so much help on defense. I don't, they do need another. Whether they trade Jarvis Landry or not, if they trade Landry, they've got to take a wide receiver as part of that deal.
Yeah,
and it's not like Landry's going to pull some big haul from whatever team's going to take him.
Sure.
I think if they don't,
he's not going to be a blockbuster trade. He's a guy who somebody could trade away for a 4th or 5th round pick.
Right. I think they've just got so many gaps at on the defensive line and in the secondary both that they've got to look at that for that first pick.
Yeah. And so first pick, you're going defensive line.
I think so. I didn't look at
the 13th overall, and this could be a spot where there's a solid defensive lineman or edge rusher,
like an above board guy that's like head and shoulders above the rest that's available.
Yeah, let's look at a mock draft while we have this up, just so we can pull up some of these and say, who we want to look at.
The one I looked at was from like Dog Pound something online. And
we have Evan Neal dropping to 13.
They had him taking a wide receiver, and I'm like, I'm not going to even look.
You know who I typically like is Walter Football. That's who I like to see. Let's take a look at what Walter has to say. This one always has some pretty decent picks. There are always, in every mock draft, some silly picks. Like this one. First one we got, Aiden Hutchinson going first overall. Well, you know what? Dumb. I'm going to go ahead and get out of this because that's just silly.
That ruined it.
Walter typically does me proud. Let's take a look.
They didn't do that there.
No. Anyone that doesn't have Evan Neal first overall has lost all credibility.
I will give him a little bit of credibility if it's an O lineman.
Yeah.
But if the Jags draft anything but a stud O lineman, they're stupid.
Let's go to Bleacher Report, shall we?
They're usually pretty good. I bet they've got Neal going first.
They've got to. Let's scroll down here a little bit. Evan Neal, first overall.
There you go.
There it is. Second overall, I bet you is going to be Hutchison. Yep. Here he is. Let's go. This is the one I don't get. Kayvon Thibodeau out of Oregon. I don't understand. It just doesn't make sense to me, that guy. I don't see it. And this is another one, Kyle Hamilton at Notre Dame. He's done a great draft, but he's for Notre Dame. I get kind of, we'll see.
Jets do like defensive backs, so especially safeties.
And see, this is what I was talking about. This has the Giants taking an offensive lineman, and this guy, Ikem Ekwonu, they've shown him going first instead of Neal in some drafts. This guy, Charles Cross from Mississippi State, if I'm not mistaken, is one of the biggest dudes at the draft. But let's find the guys we're talking about here. This has Atlanta taking Chris Olave at 8.
I can see that.
I can too, especially after the combine he just had.
But the loss of
Ridley. Ridley's gone too.
Yeah, and this has now Malik Willis.
Makes sense now.
Going to Seattle.
Makes sense. It does.
It does make sense because he has a very similar play style to Russ, has a big arm. That actually, I mean, I don't agree with him going that high just yet. I'd love for him to prove me wrong.
Yeah.
Love it. But I just don't see it yet. Wow. So that's the first updated one I've seen with the Seattle pick going in. This kid right here, I don't know if y'all watched any stuff. Trevor Penning from Northern Iowa. Watch his pro day. He treated a defensive end from Oklahoma like you were out there doing O-line drills with your sister's kids.
I saw that.
Mushing him in the dirt and just falling on him. They say they got to slow him down because he's always so amped up and ready to go. I'm interested to see where he goes. This one has the number 11 pick, the Washington Commanders taking Desmond Ridder.
I don't know about that.
Well, have we seen Kenny Pickett? Have we scrolled past him somehow?
No, he's not on there yet.
Because I mean, I knew he had a good combine. I don't know if we had an 11 to the Commanders combine. But
that would just be dumb for them to use that pick
in one of our first corners.
I don't know who they have.
I mean, they just grabbed Heineke.
Yeah, they just tried to get him a shot. They're basically them saying, one and done. You're done here. Stingley for LSU at corner going to Minnesota. Not terrible, but this has Drake London from USC going to Cleveland.
See, I don't agree with that at all.
I don't either. If I'm going with a wide receiver at this spot with who's available, I'm taking old boy from Arkansas, the big-bodied receiver.
Yeah.
Somebody who's going to make a lot of contested catches. He's going to be hard to bring down. To me, he more represents Cleveland football.
Oh, I was say Heineke has been in the league for 4 years. He wasn't a pick by them. So
sure.
That
no, he
makes
wasn't
sense.
a pick, but they just got him.
Yeah,
and this has the Baltimore Ravens taking Trayvon Walker from Georgia, not Davis. And then we have Philadelphia taking Jamison Williams. I know this one would be jumping up and down in his seat to see that.
His whole team's just going to be filled with Bama boys. He's gonna
he has to give us a roll
doing
toy.
What I do, and
then
roll
this is another one that I've got to look more into him, man. Devin Lloyd out of Utah. They've had him going higher than Jacoby Dean, than Christian Harris. I've got to see it. Because this is a wild pick to me, just because of the division he plays in, and this has the Chargers taking Jordan Davis from Georgia. Good pickup. I'm trying to find the Steelers, man. Where are we? This one also has the Eagles taking Kair Elam from Florida. Good pickup. Good corner there.
They need that.
And this is the first one I don't agree with. This has Kenny Pickett going to the Steelers. Hometown boy, hometown pick. I guess you could see this. I'm going to start jumping into the Pittsburgh Steelers. They are an excellent team still. They are good. I think the loss of Juju is not going to hurt them because he's not the best receiver on their team. Deontay Johnson is the best receiver on that team.
I agree.
They have Deontay Johnson. They have Chase Claypool. Najee Harris, even though he had lofty expectations, I think still surprised people. Not a single fumble all year. He was a workhorse for that team. You have T.J. Watt almost breaking the sack record. Therein lies your biggest problem in free agency is cornerback for them. Other than QB, of course. Other than QB. But you got Joe Hayden, who's played 54% of the snaps. He's getting ready to go. You've got to bring him back in. Just because he's a leader in the secondary, he's somebody that's got to be on the team. Their cap space, they're doing well. I think they got like $26 million to play with. They can bring some people back. James Washington at a wide receiver, they need to bring him back too. He's another good one. Ray McLeod, he's their punt returner. But I think if I'm Pittsburgh, if it's not Kenny Pickett, it's going to be another, they need corner. Cornerback is something that these folks are desperate for in the league right now.
Yeah, but I think being them, I would also take a quarterback because we all know Mason Rudolph ain't going to get it done.
That's a fact.
So
that's a fact, and that was going to be one of my points talking about them. They're shored up on defense. They're fine, and they just brought in Brian Flores from Miami, who's going to want to show out. That defense is going to be firing on all cylinders.
Because I mean, honestly, you only need a cornerback that can cover for about 2 seconds because T.J. Watt's going to have a quarterback on the ground before then.
You're right.
So, I mean, you don't really need to focus on that.
But
and also get one later round.
I mean, you're right. You're right. And there's some depth at corner, too. I don't think there's a lot of starting day one corners, which is what I like to see out of a first-round guy, especially on defense. But
because you're going to see that offense crumble under Mason Rudolph.
I don't disagree, but I think there are other free agents. So all the way, by the way, the Mason Rudolph is the only guy who's signed in on the roster. Dwayne Haskins and Josh Dobbs are both set to be unrestricted free agents. So you got to bring one of those guys back. And if I'm bringing somebody back, I'm bringing back Dwayne Haskins. Dwayne Haskins has the most physical tools of all the guys that I just named. Josh Dobbs, he's been in the league for how long?
Yeah, I was going to say,
and he's done nothing.
Though.
And he's done nothing.
Journeyman, he's sitting behind people. It's unfortunate. You know?
I mean, but he wasn't necessarily an all-world guy at Tennessee. He wasn't setting the world on fire he didn't even have any eyebrows.
Who needs eyebrows?
I mean, this guy, clearly, maybe that's what's holding him back.
That's what it is.
Somebody get him a Sharpie and draw those bad boys on there.
Just give him the makeup ones.
But I think, honestly, that I would like to see Dwayne Haskins get a legitimate shot. He's young. He's cheap. He's a national champion. He's had a couple years to be on this squad and only gotten 1 or 2 games to try to get a start. And that's with a suspect offensive line. So Steelers pick a little late in the draft, so maybe not go offensive line, but you better pick up at least 2. And you might need to pick up a free agent as well. You need depth at the line.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons number 7's not coming back. Because if he was standing upright, he'd be fine. So that's why when I look at quarterbacks, Kenny Pickett had that one big famous run where he was acting like he was going to slide and stayed up. So in terms of him being able to throw, he's got targets. All the guys at wide receiver in Pittsburgh can play.
For sure. And Najee catches it pretty well.
One thing I'd be looking at for them is a safety blanket at tight end. Eric Ebron is a free agent. I say see you later, buddy.
Yeah.
I'm letting Eric Ebron walk.
Yeah.
I'm getting one of those prototypical.
Never lived up to potential.
Nah, he had like 2 good seasons. Yeah, that was it.
And they really weren't even breakout seasons.
No,
those were like
they were just good seasons.
These are we're seeing potential seasons.
I see a lot of correlation between him and O.J. Howard. Almost the same thing.
Yeah. So, geez, I really don't know what they could do, but I think a quarterback that could have some mobility and get the ball out quick. I don't know if Kenny Pickett's that guy, but if they decide to go with a starting offensive lineman, then clearly they see something in Haskins or Rudolph, which nobody in Steeler Nation other than Haskins or Rudolph's parents think Rudolph is the guy.
Yeah, I haven't heard anyone in support.
I haven't heard anybody that's going, other than the coach that they asked, and he's like, Mason Rudolph's a quarterback on our team, and we're going to focus on him, which is the company answer.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to be like, have you seen Mason Rudolph? Like,
he's the white Kirk Cousins.
But you don't see a glowing endorsement like you did for Blaine Gabbert out of Bruce Arians when he goes, that dude is the most underrated player in the league. I want to see him. I want him to play.
Yeah, Arians, that's not the canned response that they had prepared.
Exactly.
Which I was surprised.
Yeah. But in terms of that, like I say, they're one or a few pieces away. But in terms of free agents that must come back, I'm looking at Joe Hayden. I'll even look at this guy, Akello Witherspoon, and say, bring him back too. But, you know, they have a lot of free agents that are getting ready to hit the market. And a couple of them are offensive linemen that have played over 90% of the snaps. Terrell Emmons, I'm bringing him back too. Big time.
What's Troy Polamalu doing besides Head and Shoulders commercials? Bring him back.
He's never not working.
So who's going to lead this division at the end of the season? Cincy,
I have to say Cincy, especially with the cap room they have, the talent they have, the fact that they stepped up and beat the Steelers this year and had a good showing and were able to win big games when it counted. They were able to put the team on Joe Burrow's back. Right now, he's the best QB in that division.
And also they were. I kept saying,
I don't think he's the most physically gifted quarterback in that division, but he's the best quarterback in that division.
He's they were scrappy.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think we saw the best this team's going to be.
No.
You know, it's not the Rams.
Yeah.
We just saw the best the Rams can do on the field.
For sure.
We just watched that happen. Maybe can they live up to that's the question for next season.
Right.
Whereas with Cincinnati, I think we're going to see better. I think we're going to see an easier ride.
Yeah. I think we're going to see them keep a lot of those pieces together and add that one or two. And then Cincy's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
Especially with guys like Jamar Chase firing the way that they did. But yeah, if I had to pick one, since he's definitely leading that division. Cleveland, I see him dropping off and petering out. The wild card?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with Baltimore.
Me too.
I'm gonna put Ravens at 2 for sure.
Oh yeah, I think they're the wild card.
I think they're gonna end up on top.
That's just tough.
It is tough
to say.
But hey, listen, if there is a Chris Olave or a good stud D1 wide receiver that can come in and make a difference, maybe. I mean, but at this point, people are running out on John Harbaugh. And that team is not doing what you can't rely on your defense every single game to win it for you.
Yeah, defense wins championships. No problem.
Sure does. But offense has to get them there. Yeah, I don't see Kenny Pickett, but I guess honestly, if I'm a Steeler and I see somebody like that, the way the Steelers have done it, look at their quarterbacks. They come, they stay, they play for a long time.
Same with
so whoever comes in, yeah, more so than any other franchise, right?
Yeah.
I mean, when a quarterback comes to Pittsburgh, if it's Kenny Pickett, and that's what a lot of the guys are saying in Pittsburgh too, is like, oh, we missed on Dan Marino, and look what he did. Don't miss on Kenny Pickett. I'm like, I don't know if I'm putting those two names together.
You can't do that with any incoming player or rookie quarterback. You can't put their name in the same arena as Marino.
Yeah, I don't disagree. So, we talked about AFC North. Let's go to the NFC. Who do we want to cover next?
Let's go NFC North next.
NFC North?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's a good one. Who wants the Packers? Because I don't want the Packers.
If you don't want the Packers, and I don't want Nello to have the Packers.
Yeah.
I forget who's
nobody.
I guess I'll take the
Nello
Packers.
to have the Packers.
I'll take the Packers.
Hold on, who's in the NFC North?
Chicago, the Vikings, the Lions, and the Packers.
Oh, I definitely want the Vikings.
You do?
Yeah.
Damn it. I think we
get
I'll
Nello.
take Chicago.
Okay, you want to?
I'll take Chicago, and let's give him the Lions, shall we? He can
Yes.
bite another kneecap off.
Yes.
How about that? You hear that, Nello? I know you're listening to this tomorrow. You get the Detroit fucking Lions because you ain't here.
There you go.
I'll gladly take the Bears because they're kind of close to my heart. I like the Chicago Bears. Clay will take the Green Bay Packers, and you'll take the Vikings, who I am loving. I think the Vikings are going to have a good year next year.
It's about time.
Yeah, well, I kept picking them last year, man, and they were making me happy.
Yeah.
So, either way, I think it's going to be a good year. Let's keep going on this. Let's see. Free agent is going to keep going. The salary or the franchise tags ended today at 4. So if we missed any, we will come back on them tomorrow or next week. But either way, that's going to do it for us. Thank you so much for checking us out. Cigar City Sports Podcast. Find us on Facebook. We'll see you next week.
Go, Ted.